All right.
We're
Hey.
officially live.
All
Welcome
right.
back. What's up, guys?
What's going on?
What up?
We got Tim on the ones and twos. We got Tyler back. It is confirmed he was at the bar. So
At the bar.
Yeah, knew it.
welcome back, Vince.
Hello.
And it's 5:00. We're starting a little earlier today. So at 5:00, it's fuck John Fisher o'clock. How about that, Vince?
It's
There
5
it
o'clock.
is. Oh.
It's
Did
5
we get
o'clock somewhere.
45? 45? What is that?
Yeah, it's like 45 seconds, but also Vince with the unforced error with the volume on his phone. Damn it. Oh, even when I don't mess up, I mess up.
So we have this ongoing gag of trying to not swear, but I just wanted to go there since we were talking about it in the pre-show. So welcome back, everybody. We got another exciting week of SVT Sports Podcast.
The number one podcast in North America. Please don't look that up.
Oh yeah.
Don't you dare look that up.
We have a Wikipedia. it's
Trust
fine.
us.
In football news, we got two of these guys are happy. One of them is not. Me no happy. But it is what it is. The team stinks.
Yeah.
Vince, let's start with the NFL. Let's get into some NFL scores.
Right on. So
Uh,
Thanksgiving was Thursday, and there were 3 games on Thursday because it's Thanksgiving. So we started off with the host Lions losing to the Packers 29-22. Even when they're good, they still can't win on Thanksgiving. What the hell, Detroit?
arguably, out of those 3 games, probably the most entertaining. Not to say that the other ones weren't, but they were very lopsided compared to this.
Very lopsided. To that note, the Cowboys absolutely destroy the Commanders 45-10. And we'll talk about the Niners game in a little bit, but your boy's happy. So moving on to Friday, the Jets were hosting the Dolphins. That's exact, when they set up that matchup for Amazon Prime for Black Friday, they were assuming Aaron Rodgers, right? No, can't do that. It ended up being the Dolphins running away in a laugh for 34-13. Tim Boyle is the Wish version of Zach Wilson, but they're going to stick with him at least for the next.
Is there
week.
a Wish version? Like he's
Zach
already kind of
Wilson
a
is the
Wish version in his own.
Of, I don't know, Jim
Mark
Druckenmiller.
Sanchez.
I don't Mark Sanchez. Yeah.
Oh, geez. Mark Sanchez.
Yeah. Mr. Butt Fumble himself. Yeah.
Yeah.
If Donna Kelsey's not in the stands, Zach Wilson just does not have it, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. So as for Sunday, the Steelers get the win against the Bengals 16-10. Cincinnati's in danger, y'all. Browning, Jacob Browning, is that his name? He did not have it, and it was not pretty. And the Steelers get 400 yards of offense the first game after Matt Canada gets shown the door.
100 yards, not 400 yards.
No, 400 yards of total offense.
Total offense. Okay.
Total
okay.
offense,
That's
400 yards.
It was always Matt Canada. It was never Pickens.
It was Pickens is still trash, but he survives for at least another week. The Jaguars beat the Texans 24-21. That was a super exciting game. That was a lot of fun.
It's so wild how CJ Stroud and that offense are the most electrifying offense to lose week in and week out.
Well, they're still above 500 though.
I know,
they're 6
but
and 5.
like
It's
last
wild.
week and this week, you would have thought they blew out teams.
Yeah, well, I mean, he even got them. It was a long field goal. It was like 58 yards, 59 yards for the win. But and then it doinks right off of the crossbar. Like, but he needed to get him 1 yard closer, and it's in.
In all fairness, that man was in Philadelphia sitting on his couch last week, and they said, "Hey, come hit this 60+ yard." It wasn't, but it felt like it, right?
Right.
I mean,
it was just shy of 60. He did not miss by much. But,
yeah.
Okay, so the Titans beat the Panthers 17-10. Will Levis does not look good, but he fooled us that first week, but he's getting the win the last couple of weeks. So
And the Panthers
I don't-
fired Frank Reich this morning.
Yeah, right after this morning. That feels like a spur of the moment thing. He only got 11 games. Are you kidding me? I mean, they did not look good. Don't get me wrong, but that that feels super quick.
Apparently, Frank Reich wanted CJ and or excuse me,
Will Levis?
No, from the Texans.
CJ Stroud, yeah.
CJ Stroud. He wanted CJ Stroud, and the owner wanted. Who did they draft number
Bryce
one?
Young.
Bryce Young, yeah. So that from the get-go, when they were preparing for the draft, it was they weren't in sync. So apparently they were arguing about the quarterback and why the quarterback isn't developing, and Frank Reich got the axe.
Wow, super short on that one. Unfortunately, I think that's
so it goes.
11 games. Jeez.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, I mean they were 1-10, so I mean they're well on their way to being top of the draft. I'm assuming they have those picks, right? Did they trade away any of those or to get up there?
I don't think so.
I don't think they traded anything.
I don't recall. Anyway, the Falcons beat the Saints 24-15.
How about those Falcons? They're in first place, baby.
Yeah, the 5-6 Falcons in first place of the NFC South. That is a trash division. Good God. Oh.
Hey man, one man's garbage is another man's treasure.
You misspoke. One man's trash is another man's garbage.
No. That whole division is garbage, and they're on top of that one.
I'm saying synonyms. You went opposites, like the real saying. I'm saying it doesn't matter. It's just garbage and trash and basura. Okay. Colts beat the Buccaneers 27-20. Baker can't quite get the job done, but it was still pretty exciting, that game.
Colts are they're the wild card right now, right?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, that's a little bit of a shocker, I think, for most people, but they're right there. They're right in it.
Yep.
The Giants get the win over the Patriots 10-7. Oh God,
this was a god awful game.
But Danny DeVito got to do his little Italian cheer for the one touchdown that was
nice.
By the Giants. So. Yeah, yippee. The Rams beat the Cardinals in a laugher 37-14. The Broncos, they get the win again, 29-12 over the Browns.
Four in a row now for them?
I think it's like
4 or 5, something like that.
Except for their last 7.
But I think in a row. I think they
they're
had like 4 wins in a row.
In the fantasy league, man. They're like winning a lot.
Yeah, how they're doing it,
starting off horrendously. It's bad. It was bad, but maybe he's beating the washed allegations. I don't know.
You know what the biggest thing about this Browns thing is that they definitely lost what's his name? Their Myles Garrett. Like he said he felt something pop in his shoulder. I'm like, that's not a good thing.
No. If Myles Garrett, losing Myles Garrett is going to be huge to try to make up for that if he's missing any significant time at all. And I mean, that could be the difference between making the playoffs and not making the playoffs in the most Browns fucking way possible. There we are at 8 minutes.
Hey, you know what?
For me.
Browns are gonna brown.
Yeah, Brown's gonna brown. All right. And Sunday night, the Ravens beat the Chargers 20-10. Zay Flowers gets 2 tugs. That helps me win.
With one of the worst touchdown celebrations ever.
I don't care. I don't care. I do not care.
I will say this.
Your boy's in 5th place. I was 0-5, and now I'm in 5th place.
Don't worry.
Screw you all.
I gave you this L last week anyways. So all I would say is that, yes, the Ravens should have won this game. Chargers have so much talent on paper. It's crazy they can't win these games. But I will say the officiating between my game and also this Charger and Ravens game on a back-to-back, it was pretty bad officiating on the get-go. Not to say that the Ravens didn't get all the calls either. I mean, there were some that should have definitely been called on them, but there was definitely the first drive that should have been a touchdown. Chargers should have easily had a touchdown or at least 3 points that got taken away, right? The Chargers should have easily been given that penalty on the kickoff on the punt. That's maybe leads to another 3 points or a touchdown. So, maybe we're looking at a different game here if that turns around. There were blatant calls, not like maybe. They were blatant.
No, yeah. But like I said, the most important thing is in our fantasy league, I am back and alive and in the playoffs. Both of you schmucks are out right now on the outside looking in.
I know.
How does that feel? I was 0-5. I was buried. What happened?
I'm about to take down the number 1 seed. So,
I just see this rate. I just maintain 8. I mean, maintain 6. Just get to 6.
Well, you're in 7th right now.
I know. I just got to get to 6.
You got to get past my brother.
I need JJ. I need JJ to just tighten that hamstring up and just get back out there, baby.
This is fun. Now it comes to our teams. We got the Niners played on Thanksgiving. They win in blowout fashion, 31-13. It got a little exciting in the third quarter. Brock Purdy threw a pick 6 it was just a bad throw to a CMC, and it just got taken the other way. They were kind of deep in their own zone. But after that point, and before that point, really, the Seahawks couldn't move the ball for shit. So the Niners just had them locked up basically the entire game outside of that third quarter. A little bit of chaos there. They had one good drive and then they had a pick 6, and that was it. That was the Niners just dominated in basically all facets of the game. It wasn't Brock's best game, to be honest, but at this point, there's a lot of people that talk about, the system quarterback thing, and this is where I'm going to come in and start defending Brock a lot more than I have been in the past. Because Jimmy Garoppolo couldn't do this in the system. Trey Lance couldn't do it. I love that
you said that. I love that you said defend him more than I have in the past, because you not necessarily didn't defend him, but you exactly.
Yeah, I've been the slowest to come around because I'm just a little bit cautious, because most of the time when somebody falls down that far into the draft, there's a reason.
Yeah,
and we just haven't found that reason yet. Maybe
there's not many Tom Brady's.
Maybe that, yeah, exactly. Tom Brady's don't grow on trees. If there was a 6th round quarterback that comes out of nowhere and just dominates every year, I would think nothing of it. But because it only happens once every 20-25 years, I'm a little bit more wary about it before I go full-throated, full confidence. This is the guy. But after this, the way that this season has gone so far, even the most skeptical, there are people way more skeptical than me. You have to admit he's doing the job. He's doing it better than anybody else has as a Niners quarterback under Kyle Shanahan's system. So he's absolutely dominating, and I'm happy to see it. I'm glad he's finally getting some accolades too from the national media. It's not just all the pieces that are around him. Yes, the pieces are there, but Jimmy couldn't get the job done with all those pieces. Trey Lance couldn't beat out Sam Darnold to get the job to do all of it with these pieces. So let's go, Brock. I'm not quite ready to buy a jersey yet, but I am definitely on board. And that's also because I'd rather buy a CMC jersey first.
Sure, makes sense.
I got priorities. I already got the Kittle jersey. Also, I got to get the Deebo Samuel jersey first as well too. So just priorities. He's he's on the list to do. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. Christmas is coming, so we'll see.
To your point, Vince, with the Brock Purdy executing the Kyle Shanahan system, I mean, you could go back to his time in Washington, Atlanta. Brock Purdy, I mean, you could put him up against all of those quarterbacks, and he's arguably executing this system better than any quarterback that's been in the Kyle Shanahan system. Right. There's the one year that Matt Ryan got the MVP.
Yep.
The year that they lost the Super Bowl, I believe. Mm-hmm. But
I think Matt Ryan left after that year too, right?
No, it was a couple years later. After that.
But Brock Purdy in his young career has been the best quarterback at executing a Kyle Shanahan offense, and the weapons are the weapons. Of course, that's going to help any quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, Matt Ryan had Julio Jones and a bunch prime Julio Jones and a bunch of other guys too. So.
I mean, can you imagine? We'll talk about the Chiefs and the Raiders in a second, but right now, this Chiefs offense really has no playmakers. It's just
Travis Kelce. That's it.
You got Mahomes and Maato.
Yeah. Rashee Rice might be a guy, but
I think that's
still
your
way
best
too
option.
early to tell. But that's
But I mean, you put these weapons on the Kansas City Chiefs, and it's going to be Madden football video game for Patrick Mahomes. He's already video game mode, but it's going to be that much even more. So to crush the guy for
also
having
the defense in Kansas City is a lot better, so he doesn't quite have to go Madden God mode every week either.
right.
But yeah, even still.
But Brock Purdy is still executing the system, making the right reads, making the proper throws. He did give up the pick 6. But for the most part in his career, he's not turning the ball over. He's executing it perfectly. So
Dude,
I don't understand
that dot that he threw to Brandon Ayuk. Like,
that was a great throw.
It was a great throw. There were 4 guys around
Yep.
him converging. He had a really tight window and he found it. And that play was designed for the check down, excuse me. But he just went for it over the top and he fit it in perfectly. And Jimmy doesn't try that throw, you know. Trey Lance might try that throw, but he's not going to hit it, you know.
Right.
And that's getting picked off or knocked away or something. But I think he's the right level of gunslinger, but also like taking care of it overall, you know. And especially with a young guy, you expect a couple of mistakes. That pick 6 was a mistake, but it ended up not hurting the team at the end of the game. And it's something to go study and go work harder and to try to get better and just kind of feed the beast that's like growing. And like, you know, I love it. I love it overall. So,
well, we're going to talk more 49ers in a second, but so let's keep moving forward because we're going to circle back to the Niners.
Yeah. Okay. So who wants to go next?
I'll go next because there's some parodies that I think would go well with the 49ers.
Okay.
Well, hold on, because we're going to circle back. So I don't got much to say on the Raiders. So let's do the Raiders.
We'll do this. The Chiefs end up winning over the Raiders 31-17. Sam, go ahead.
I mean, they got no solution at quarterback. I think Aiden O'Connell is just, you know, he's a 4th, 5th round draft pick for a reason. He was a walk-on for a reason. And that's not to say that he's not going to be a good pro moving forward. I think he shows signs of being a really good quarterback, and then he shows signs of making rookie mistakes. I think for him, playing out the rest of the season as the starting quarterback goes a long way as far as just getting his reps in, understanding the timing of the NFL. It seems like those opening drives, the Raiders look really well prepared under Antonio Pierce. It looks like, you know, the scripted plays, the 10, 15 plays, they look really in sync with one another. It's coming out of halftime and making those adjustments. Last week, he threw those, costly 3-interception game in the second half. The Raiders look greatly improved with just the absence of Josh McDaniels. So I still believe, like, even if you went into next season with Aiden O'Connell, a real head coach and a real offensive coordinator, you have talent on the roster. You need to add to the roster. I don't think it's a Super Bowl contender, but you should be better than what your record says right now. Clearly, the Chiefs are just a much better team. They got a more dynamic offense, and they got a generational quarterback. You put that quarterback doing what he's doing on any team, is probably going to cover up a lot of blemishes on that team. And like we said earlier, the Kansas City Chiefs offensively don't have the best offensive talent around him right now, but they still have a Hall of Fame tight end. They have a Hall of Fame head coach, and they have a generational talent on quarterback. So it's gonna cover up a lot, and they have a really good defense where the offense doesn't need to go God mode. So with the Raiders, I think for the rest of the year, look, they got some winnable games in the next 2 to 3 weeks. I'm just looking to stay competitive. Just keep games competitive, keep games close. Unfortunately, Max Crosby wasn't around. He was on and off the field, so they limited his reps. And when he was on the field, he got a sack. But he just did not look like himself. He was clearly slower with the knee injury. Then he was also suffering from illness. So clearly his body was not there. But with that, I mean, that's pretty much all I got to say about the Raiders. And it didn't come down. So many people were getting on Antonio Pierce about this, going for it on 4th down, kicking the field goal. Then Daniel Carlson, unfortunately, missed the field goal, who's like a top 2, top 3 kicker in the game. He's usually automatic inside 45. He's usually automatic at those ranges. The game didn't come down to the one missed field goal or going for it on 4th down and getting that 4th down, and getting a touchdown on that drive. There was many mistakes and many costly errors, penalties, not being able to get off the field on third down. They had the Chiefs 3rd and long, 3rd and medium, and they couldn't get off the field. So it's kind of like the same old problems.
Yeah, I think a successful season for the Raiders to be 8-8, in my opinion. I think that's look at the
Well,
remaining.
it would be 8-9 or 9-8 because
right.
it's
8-9. I think would be more realistic. I think, but I don't think that that's a problem. I think that's a great improvement. I mean, look at the Chargers; they're 4-7 right now with that offense. So no knock on the Raiders at all. I mean, they've got world talent at positions too, and I think Myers has been an absolute godsend for you guys by far. Like he's been like, there's no reason why he should be playing this well because we saw him in New England. He did not play, I think, up to the level that he's playing in Vegas right now. So I think he's going to be highly touted. In the offseason.
I would really like to see the Raiders. I would like to see Antonio Pierce get a shot and see if he can really be a head coach. And obviously Bo Hargreave, he's the quarterback coach that got promoted to the interim offensive coordinator, and he's never called an NFL game. So there's going to be some growing pains on him. I think for the most part, he's doing a pretty good job. But without a whole offseason to prepare an offense, what you want to call, how you want to call it, developing those details with your staff, I actually think Bo Hargreave has shown some promise at being a really good offensive coordinator. I do think if you're gonna roll with Aiden O'Connell next year, or at least have him as a backup and bring in another quarterback, you probably need to bring in a reputable offensive coordinator. But at the same time, I think he's shown some promise, and he's maybe shown some other teams that he could potentially be an offensive coordinator if he so chooses. But I would love to see Antonio Pierce get the job. I think I said this last week, Antonio Pierce get the job, and I would love to see Patrick Graham come back, because the Raiders, the biggest problem the Raiders organization has been missing is continuity. Is that this constant flipping of coaching staff and general managers. So even though Josh McDaniels and Ziegler did a shit job, at least with, Champ Kelly was a finalist to get the job as the general manager. And if Ziegler and Josh McDaniels didn't get the job, it was probably going to Champ Kelly to get the job. So we kind of got lucky in this, and we talked about this when Josh McDaniels got hired and Champ Kelly got the assistant general manager job. They created that job because Mark Davis really liked his interview. It was just that Josh McDaniels and Ziegler came as a package deal, and that's kind of what sold him. And we all know that Mark Davis has this fantasy of, the Patriots, and, gushes over the Patriots because of Tom Brady and whatnot. But I would like to see Champ Kelly and Antonio Pierce get the full-time jobs and see what they can do, just really to provide some continuity. Real quick, Raiders news, they released Marcus Peters and was it Roderick Teamer?
Teamer's an idiot.
A DUI Sunday morning
before his game back.
So
so dumb.
That's something that I do appreciate with Antonio. As soon as that hit the news, I think all Raider fans knew that he was done.
Well, I don't think it was necessarily Pierce. It's just, we all know, especially, more highlighted than ever, that Davis has a zero tolerance policy, and the Ruggs thing is a prime example as to why he has a zero tolerance when it comes to drinking, and you get popped and whatnot. So
I just wouldn't be surprised if Josh McDaniels was still coaching and Ziegler was still general manager. I wouldn't be surprised if he was suspended or something, and then they try to bring him back because he was their guy. I just wouldn't be surprised if they try to cover up for him, or suspend him for a week, or bench him for a week or two. But Antonio Pierce, he's not going to tolerate that nonsense. And Champ Kelly and Antonio Pierce have come out and talked about some of the accountability issues. For whatever reason, like Josh McDaniels was trying to rule the Raiders like an iron fist, but then there was talk coming out that people were showing up late to meetings, and what's going on?
Right.
You're trying to rule this like a warden, but then people are showing up late, and what's going on here? So
I think we talked about it last week. If you're like ruling like a tyrant or whatever with the iron fist,
you're gonna define.
You have to be good, otherwise you're just an asshole.
Yeah.
The Patriot way only works if you're winning.
You're gonna have
Exactly.
defiant people if I mean, yeah, that's true. If you're winning, no one really gives a shit. You could be the Bill Belichick or the
Exactly.
Popovich, you know what I mean? Like, but if you're not winning, you're gonna have defiant people.
Exactly.
So
That's all I got, guys.
All right, so on to Tyler's Eagles. They get the win against the Bills in overtime, 37-34. Josh Allen falls to 0-6 lifetime in overtime. They changed the overtime rules because he couldn't get a chance in the playoff game, and he's 0-5 since they changed the overtime rules. So talk about not being able to catch a break, Tyler. But your guys get the win after allowing the field goal. They come back and get the touchdown.
perfect
How
sentiment
wild
for
was that game, man?
perfect sentiment for the season for this game is Jason Kelsey's Super Bowl speech of "We're from Philly, fucking Philly. No one likes us. We don't care." I'll tell you this, from the Chiefs game to the Bills game to, even if you want to go to the Jets game, doesn't matter. All the sentiment has always been, oh, if Mahomes would have did this or did that. Oh, if Josh Allen would have done this and this and that. But the media loves portraying that instead of just saying, Jalen Hurts came out there and did a 2-minute drill and won that game. Jalen Hurts went out against the Chiefs and got that W. Jalen Hurts went to go do this and that. It's always, oh, the opposing team should have done this and that, instead of saying the Eagles went out and won a game. Not that they got a game handed to them. They won the game. And I think that is, to your point where, Purdy's getting all the accolades. Perfect. Great. Philly fans and Philadelphia love being underwritten as underdogs. And even coming into this week, before the overtime ended, 49ers were already at 2-point favorites. Now they're 2.5 favorites coming into Philadelphia. Love it. We love it all. Great. And I think that just fuels the fire of Philadelphia and Philadelphia fans.
Yeah, your boys have started chirping already too.
Yeah, well, yours too.
And
yours too.
Exactly. Debo's chirping back. Like it's gonna be a fun week, man.
It's gonna be great, man. Like this is our Super Bowl. Like this, if both of our teams fucking implode and we don't make the Super Bowl, this is our Super Bowl, hands down. It's like the Legion of Boom and the 49ers. Like that was the Super Bowl before the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. I think that's what it is. I think it's a good representation and a fair, evaluation of what is our division and everything that comes with it. So I just would love to say that, like, the media loves to portray that the Philly team is just some team that gets lucky and wins. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. Because we do go out there and grind out wins. But I've never said on our podcast that Philly's been lucky to get a win. I've always said that we just win ugly, but we always win. And that's the way I like to see it.
That's that championship DNA that Sam loves.
Oh my God, if
so much.
Favorite cliche saying ever.
Dude, I was like literally texting people. I was like, if Romo says championship DNA one more time on this live feed, I swear to God, I think he said it like 16 times. I was like, stop saying championship DNA. You haven't even made it to a divisional round, past a divisional round.
Stop, you know nothing of DNA.
Stop it,
Romo.
That's right. Go to a science class, you jerk.
No, I mean, I'm happy. Me and Vince will always be cordial throughout the week.
Yeah.
Until
it's
Sunday.
Fuck you, sir.
And exactly. We tip our hat until tip off. And then tip off, gloves are off, baby.
Right. It's gonna be a lot of fun having pizza on Sunday, bud.
Mm-hmm. I'll be here for you, man. I'll have Dr. Pepper or Coke, whatever you want, ready for you.
That's right.
Yeah, so next week we're gonna be at the pizza spot. $20 on the line.
That's right. Big money. Any more and I might get in trouble. But 20 is fine. Yeah.
So this has to be one of the biggest games of the year. This kind of feels like a prelude to the NFC Championship, 49ers versus Eagles.
Yeah.
I guess Dallas is still technically in the conversation, but I can't really take them seriously until they take themselves seriously.
Until they beat a team over 500.
And Mike McCarthy's not the head coach.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I didn't mention this, but I do want to say with the win last night, the Eagles have clinched a spot and the first team to clinch a spot in the playoffs. So let's go.
Right.
But yeah, no, this is, to your point, this is our Super Bowl. This is
we had this circled in August when we were talking about playoffs and Super Bowls and everything. Our preseason predictions.
I'm happy.
This December 3rd game, we had that circled, and I'm glad we got here and it's mostly gone to plan. The 3-game loss for the 49ers didn't look great. Also, the Eagles losing to the Jets out of nowhere. That's also a weird thing.
You know what?
But for the most part, I mean, it's the 1 and 2 seeds coming in early December, late in the season, with number 1 seed isn't quite on the line, but if the 49ers win, that gets real. It gets real tight. Basically, there goes your cushion. Basically,
well, that's why I was happy we got that win, because coming into this week, it's a big game, obviously, but it's not a pressure game that if the Eagles were to lose, it's not the end of the world. We're still 2 games up on Dallas. We're still a game and a half, maybe. I think. I don't know if we play the same teams.
If the 49ers win, you'd be 1 game up on the Niners.
Okay. So it's not cloud. Like if we lost to the Bills, like this game would have way more implications, I think, for the Eagles side than it does for the 49ers.
Yeah, I was kind of like holding my breath. I was like, are the Bills going to do this? Are they going to make my life a little easier? But I should have known better. I knew it wouldn't happen.
I will say that kick. Okay. Look. Okay. 2 things. The touchdown throw to Zacchaeus, or I like to call him Zucchini because his name's sometimes hard to forget when you've been drinking.
Right.
Amazing throw. Like people were saying, oh, they had to rely on Zacchaeus. I'm like, no. Hurts pointed him to go here, and he launched that ball perfectly. Might I add, because we were on the HD camera, so you can't tell. In downpour rain, like a perfect throw in downpour rain. Amazing throw. But it's okay.
Yeah, that's the other thing. That game, like the first half, it was a little bit slower, and you're like, oh, this is going to be a slog with the weather. But then all of a sudden, the rain didn't matter in the second half and overtime. Like the offenses were off the chain and just fucking go. You know?
And I'm not knocking the Bills, because Josh Allen played one hell of a game. Like that guy is, when they compare him to Ben Roethlisberger, minus the off the field stuff.
Right. Ben Roethlisberger.
I think it's a fair, comparison. He's a big dude, slings that ball, great quarterback, but he can run, which Ben could not do. I think it's the only comparison they don't have.
Right. They just couldn't tackle Ben easily. Like it took 4 guys to get a sack.
Yeah, for sure. And I think Josh Allen's the same way. It was a great game. No hats off to him as well. That could have went either way, but
they should have called a horse collar tackle, though. That was
for sure. Yeah. No, I agree.
There was some bad officiating just overall.
100%. I will not discredit that at all.
Yeah. Maybe it's time to make these guys full time. Maybe it's time.
So.
I mean,
I think so. I think it's been time. I think
it's definitely been
past. I think it's late.
It's overdue.
Okay, so funny story about that horse collar thing was that our guy Hassan Reddick, which Vince probably hates with a passion because of the whole tackle the arm on UCL tear. Hassan Reddick gets that sack, right? Mm-hmm. And doesn't get called for the horse collar. So immediately Josh Allen says, "Oh, he lobbies to the ref. Oh, it's intentional grounding. Oh, it's intentional grounding. Get intentional grounding, right?" Because he doesn't want Hassan Reddick to get the sack on his record. I was like, dude, that's so petty, man. Like your team, you're going to lose 15 yards because you don't want to get a sack. Hey, man. Power to you.
I mean, I get it. I get it. Okay, so I think that pretty much wraps up football talk at this point.
We got to pick up.
No. But I mean, in terms of this past week, the Vikings and Bears are playing in Minnesota on Monday Night Football. There is no score. Justin Fields just turned a corner and he's around the 40-yard line of his own side. So really nothing's happening that we're missing right now because the Bears are trash and the Vikings are playing with Spaceman Dobbs as their quarterback. Hell of a story. And I just don't know how exciting this game is going to be. All right. So as we mentioned earlier, Frank Reich was fired by the Panthers. There goes that note off of the play sheet, the Google sheet. Okay.
Ready? So I did this on my phone So I
Mhm.
apologize for the highlighter green, but here we are. So
right.
let me go ahead and share. Alrighty. Not a lot of red. So we did pretty good. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's pretty red. We did
Overall,
pretty good. Obviously we all picked what we thought was the better team on the
the
Thursday.
only game I got wrong was the Saints. Okay.
No, the Lions too. The Lions too.
Oh, the Lions up top. Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, not bad.
But we all got the Saints and we all got the Lions wrong, so I'll take it.
It's a wash.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a wash, baby.
So we're currently, I mean, it's
But
a
I missed
two-horse
a
race.
week. I fucked up.
I know we're gonna go off
Yeah,
of percentages.
We're
for
going to
you,
go off
so-
of percentages going forward, so it's not going to be just total number corrected.
All right.
We'll go by your percentage.
So currently, I'm hot on your heels. So we're getting there. But we'll see. This will obviously change something, and then obviously this will change nothing because we all picked the Vikings.
Since we all picked the Vikings, yeah.
So let me go ahead and get my pick'ems sheet here. And I'm gonna say the 49ers and Eagles last. I know that we shouldn't, but I'm going to.
I
So
feel
Browns. I was just looking at
oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Again,
double
I
S.
did this on my phone, so
Browns.
I apologize.
and same with Bengals.
Yeah, I did this on my phone here, so that's
All right, we're doing parcel tongue here on SVT Sports.
Lions at Cinta. Sainta.
Where?
Sainta.
Sainta.
See, this is why I need to do this on my computer and not on my phone.
Falcons.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I
Falcons.
swear I deleted these S's. I think it's not catching it. Because it
No,
didn't get
no.
my picks last week either. Anyone else on S's here? Double S's, we good?
I think we're okay.
Okay. All right. Going up the top here off of that miscue there. Seattle Seahawks at the Cowboys. Cowboys are favored at -8, which I get it, but I think that's a little high. I give it 6. I don't want to give it -8.
I'm taking Cowboys, man. They're
Yeah.
just way better than the Seahawks. The Seahawks ain't gonna move the ball.
Yeah, the Seahawks are about to be 6-8 after last week, this week, and next week when they play the Niners again.
So
Okay. Well, we're on the same agreements here. Colts at the Titans. Colts are favored at -2.5.
ugh. I'll take the Colts. I mean, they're in the playoff hunt.
Oops. Let's learn how to spell today. That could have been really bad what I was almost spelling.
Jeez, Lou. Yeah, the Colts are just a better team, even without their the quarterback that they drafted, Anthony Richardson.
Is he out for the season? Or
Yeah,
is
he's
he-
done for the year.
Okay, he wasn't scheduled to come back late. Okay.
Falcons.
Yeah, come on.
Falcons.
Yeah. Picking the Jets is a fool's errand, and I'm not gonna do it. Falcons.
Yeah, I would agree with you. As much as I love the Jets' heart on their defense, their offense just can't do it.
Yeah.
All right. Lions at the Saints. Saints are favored at -3.5.
You know what? I've taken the Saints have let me down time and time again.
Me too. Me too.
I'm going with the Lions. They're coming off of a tough loss. They're going to come out biting people's ankles and kneecaps. Lions.
Yeah. The Lions are the Lions should be the favorite, I would think. They have extra 3 days to prepare, extra half a week basically, as well, because
Yeah.
they played on Thanksgiving. So yeah, give me the Lions.
I would agree with that. Broncos at the Texans. Even though the Broncos have won 4 games in a row, the Texans 5. Okay,
It
so we
is
did get that
5.
row. So it is
Yep.
5. Okay. The Texans are still favored at -3.
I'm taking the
Well,
Texans at
that's-
home,
Mhm.
and I think they just got a really balanced team, and they're young and they're getting better.
Neutral side, it's a pick 'em, but I think I'm still gonna pick the Texans as well. I'm really excited about CJ Stroud,
Yeah.
and I'm just not quite believing that Russell Wilson is actually beating the washed allegations just yet.
Right.
We'll see.
I mean, he did beat the Chiefs.
Yeah, but still, shit happens. The Chiefs have never gone perfect in a season before.
Wasn't Patrick Mahomes had a flu or something? Too?
Yeah.
Like
Shit happens.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. That does sways a little bit here. Yeah, I'll go Texans.
Yeah.
Over my better judgment.
Okay.
To my opinion. Okay.
Oh.
Chargers at the Patriots, and the Chargers are favored at -6.
Yeah.
Chargers, Patriots stink. They don't
Yeah.
got no quarterback.
The Patriots are the doggest of
They got
shits,
nothing,
man. That is a
yeah.
bad team. Yeah, the Chargers.
I think
right the ship just a
if
little
Bill
bit.
Belichick wasn't a Hall of Famer, he would have been fired. I think he's gone after the season.
On his own
And-
terms. But
yeah,
yeah.
He's, that
This
team's
is his final year as a head coach, I think, for the Patriots.
All right. Up next, we have the Cardinals at the Steelers. By the way, your wild card Steelers at -5.5.
Yeah, Steelers.
As much as I do not like Kenny Pickett, it's the Steelers. I mean, they're
They're a
playing
better
the
team.
Cardinals.
They're a better
They're,
team.
they're just a way better team.
Mike
They're
Tomlin.
better coached. Yeah.
Better defense.
Mm-hmm.
Better
Yeah.
pizza, Papa John's.
Yeah. Fuck Papa John's.
I
Right in
mean,
the ear with no lube. Fuck that
Dolphins
guy.
Dolphins at Commanders. Would you like to wager what the Dolphins are favored at?
20.
It's gonna be. I don't think it's quite that high, but I'm gonna say like 12,
-9.5.
9.5.
Yeah,
It's not quite at
Dolphins.
double digits. It'll the public will bet it up to double digits. I think. Yeah,
I agree.
Dolphins.
Yeah. I
So
agree.
far we're all in lockstep.
I know.
aren't we? Yeah.
was
I
just
know,
thinking
and I
that.
thought about change. Well, we get a last minute change at the end here. So, but
Mhm.
these might be pretty much locked in. Panthers at the Bucks. Bucks are favored at -6.
Bucks. Panthers stink. Fired their
Yeah.
coach. Fired their running backs coach, quarterback coach.
Yeah, I mean, this is there's no rhyme or reason at this point. Like Panthers are just garbage. I can't take them seriously.
So, like I said, we're going to save that one for last. We're going to go to Browns at the Rams. Rams are favored at -4.5.
I'm
Again,
taking the Rams.
No Miles Garrett. So
Yeah, no Miles Garrett. I think they might be playing with PJ Walker. Maybe if what's his bucket can't get back from the concussion. Yeah, it's just it's all looking downhill for the Browns, and maybe the Rams start getting it together. Kyron Williams is back, so who knows?
So before you give you shout out answers on this one, I just want to give you some background here. We have the Chiefs at the Packers. Obviously,
Mhm.
Chiefs are favored at -7. They're in Lambeau, and tip off is at 8 o'clock at night in Lambeau.
Yeah, it's gonna be freezing.
Yeah, it's gonna be freezing. The Chiefs end up winning by like 10 points instead of
30.
20. Yeah, 20 or 30. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
the Chiefs.
All right. Just want to make sure. No, want to make sure we have our opinions here. Okay. Bengals at Jacksonville.
This would have been such a cool game if
I
Joe
really
Burrow
would have.
was healthy. This would have been
Yeah.
so much fun.
Yeah, it's something great. Jags are favored at -8.
This
Yeah,
might be the most
Jags.
boring week of pick'ems. Like, we only have one game
I
where,
was just
where
gonna
we're
say
live,
the
man.
same.
Jaguars. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Before we jump into it, is there anyone that wants to make any changes or anything? You know what? I will.
All right. You're gonna go live with the Broncos there. Okay.
I'm gonna do
All
it.
right.
I'm gonna do it.
You got to make up for the fact that you're gonna be wrong about the Eagles. I get it, man.
Oh, I see someone's already taking
So it
one
begins.
glove off.
So it begins.
No, I think one, Broncos are hot. Texans, I mean, man, they can throw for 400 yards and still lose the game. It blows my mind. So I'm just going off a gut feeling here. I'm going Bruce Bochy, baby. I'm going Bruce
Okay.
Bochy. All right. 49ers at Eagles. Obviously, me and Vince are locked in. Curious, Sam, before you say, or actually when you say your decision, let us know how you got to your decision.
Well, man, it's a tough pick. What's the
49ers are favored at -2.5. That spread that has moved a half a line since last night. It was
Yeah, I got to take the 49ers. I think right now they are a more complete team in the sense of the mistakes. And like you were saying earlier, Tyler, the Eagles have been winning ugly. And I think there comes a point where that fourth quarter comeback kid magic starts to wear off. The 49ers got a great defense, so it's going to be really tough to perform in the fourth quarter in these crucial situations. And I think the 49ers are just going to do a little bit better job of not making mistakes because the Eagles have shown that they make mistakes, and they just been able to outdo some of their opponents. So right now, I just think the 49ers are a little bit better balanced team and a little bit more put together team.
Okay.
That's not to say that the Eagles aren't going to be there at the end at the NFC Championship game. I think a lot of these ugly wins are going into their benefit when they do get into the playoffs. But I think the 49ers are also looking at this as a revenge game of what happened, in the playoffs when they lost Brock Purdy. So I think there's also a prove it mentality that the 49ers have that if they would have had their quarterback healthy last year, then things would have been different. So I think there's a lot of motivation to win this game.
Well, I'm curious because, and Vince, correct me if I'm wrong here, but when things get mucky with the 49ers, Purdy looks like he's got a couple haymakers onto him. So he doesn't always look the most pristine, but man, when they're running on all cylinders, it's a problem. Like that train is not stopping at any station. Like they're gonna run through everyone. So I'm curious if the Eagles are able to muck it up. What does Purdy look like? And it ain't gonna be sunshines and rainbows in Philadelphia. It's gonna be raining, and it's gonna be dirty. And it's gonna be muddy, and it's gonna be a hostile environment.
Is it actually gonna be raining?
Yeah, it's gonna be raining.
Nice.
So I'm curious.
I thought you were just saying like I don't know. The fans are gonna be spitting on everybody, and it's gonna look like rain.
No.
The classy Philadelphia fans,
Hey, the classiest.
Huh?
No, so I'm gonna stop sharing. But I'm curious though. I mean, when it does get mucky and dirty, I mean, not to say that Purdy hasn't won those games, but he doesn't look the most polished. So I'm curious as to if it ends up being that way, what Purdy do we get in Philadelphia? We won't know until Sunday.
Yeah.
So looking forward to
interesting.
it, though.
Yeah, it's a good question, and one I'm certain we'll get at least part of an answer to.
Sure, of course.
It's gonna be fun. Going to be a lot of fun. That's all I really know for sure is Sunday. If everybody's healthy, it's going to be a fun game. That's what I'm looking forward to is a really fun game between and this is a game the entire nation has kind of been waiting on, not just Niners fans and Eagles fans. Like
I think it was like 40 million people tuned in, or 39 tuned into the Eagles and Chiefs game. What's the number going to be with the 49ers and the Eagles? I'll bet you'll break it.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm not going to be ridiculous and pick like 55 million, but like I think they'll clear 40. I think this is going to clear 40 million.
I think a lot of 40, people. 42, 43 sounds realistic.
Something like that. Yeah. You know what? We'll just go with the full Obama and get 44.
Yeah, let's do it.
There we go.
Let's do it. We're not going to do 45 though, okay?
No, actually, no. We'll blow right past that if at all possible. Okay. I think that wraps up football talk, doesn't it, boys?
Yeah,
Yes,
I'm good.
Sir.
Okay, cool. Next on the docket is the Warriors. They get 2 wins out of 3 over this past week. They get the win versus Houston. They go to Phoenix and lose, and then they come back home, play the Spurs in the in-season tournament, and get the win. The Spurs kind of closed the gap a little bit at the end to make it closer than it looked. It ended up being a 6-point win, and because they closed the gap, it made the it made the math a little bit weirder because they used point differential as a tiebreaker with this in-season tournament. So the Spurs putting a run on the Warriors kind of hurt them a little bit.
You're basically banking on the Timberwolves to lose at this point, because I think
if the Timberwolves lose, then it's just on Tuesday you're in Sacramento, you win that game, you move on in the tournament. If you don't, and then it comes down to I think the Warriors would be eliminated because they already have 1 loss in the in-season tournament.
Well, they have 2, and
no,
just I'm sorry, it is just 1.
Right now
they were just back-to-back games with the same team.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm curious though, guys. Like, what's your? I mean, we're what 17 games in. What's your panic meter?
If I'm not quite panicking yet. I wish they looked a little bit better. 8 and 9 is not great. How they play against Sacramento for this in-season tournament is going to be a little bit interesting. If they win by 13, I think even then, I think that's what it's going to take for the Warriors to move on. I think I saw an article saying, if Minnesota wins, if Minnesota wins, then the Warriors need to win by at least 13 to like leapfrog past the Kings. because the point differential is so great.
No way that's gonna happen.
Yeah. So I mean,
Not
you
in
never
Sacramento.
know. I mean, I don't know, man. And the Minnesota game tips off early enough that by the end of the first quarter, you're gonna know what you need to do.
Yeah, but the problem is that I know that the Kings and their wonderful head coach is privy to that. Like he knows.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, there's people are gonna know, and he's gonna obviously try to fight like hell to make sure that his team is in it.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just it's kind of weird how it's gonna break down, and I still don't know what I think about this in-season tournament. I'm not gonna really know what I think about it.
I think the energy that is coming from the players and like how we've had fights break out, right? Like there's a lot of energy that's coming with these. I don't think I anticipated that. Yeah. I definitely thought it was just going to be a laissez-faire, lackadaisical kind of. It's just a regular season game, but I guess money talks. I don't know if this. Hi, Julia. I don't know if money is like not taxed depending on your area. Like you just get this money untaxed. Like they're playing way harder than I anticipated for what I would assume is money, but not as much as they could make playing contractly wise. You know what I mean? Like,
right. I mean, it is a little interesting that guys are they're actually getting after it, which is, a promising sign for the NBA that maybe this is working. And maybe if there's a few tweaks in following years, just kind of depending on how this year goes, just kind of adjust as you go. And it's the first time a major league in America is doing something like this,
Yeah.
I mean, soccer has tournaments like this, but America, by and large, doesn't give a shit about soccer, which is unfortunate and something that we're trying to change here on the SVT Sports Podcast.
I think, well, I'm curious what you guys think. Do you think the era of small ball and the Warriors and basically revolutionized small ball so the rest of the league kind of adapted to having their own small ball lineups, but now that we're seeing that's kind of maybe going away with your Chet Holmgrens, your Twin Tower of Minnesota, and then you're also Victor Wembanyama. Do you think small ball has all been pretty much eliminated at this point?
No, I think it's something you need to have in your tool belt because all of those guys they can play small ball style. They can shoot. Those guys are fast. They have range. They have at least a little bit of handle if they need to.
Well, so I'm saying, do you think a small ball is gone?
I don't think small ball is gone. I just think it's going to be a little bit different because the bigs now have to behave like they're smalls.
There's always been teams that there was the early '90s Warriors, with the Don Nelson, Run TMC that were smaller, and then even the We Believe Warriors were considered a smaller team. So there's been smaller teams, and it's not just the Warriors, but Don Nelson,
the Suns, the 7 seconds or less. That was a small team.
The current, this generation of Warriors, the Steve Kerr, Steph Curry Warriors, they were the small ball team that broke through and won championships. That was kind of like the transcendent moment, is that you had Steph Curry, like
you had a guy that was 6'8" playing center,
right. Like, and then exactly. You have Draymond also at the peak of his powers that can guard 1 through 5. And then you added Kevin Durant during that time, so it was kind of a freak accident that all came together in the benefit of the Golden State Warriors. So I don't think it's necessarily the end of small ball. I think what's happening now is like what Vince is saying is you got these guys like Chet Holmgren and Victor Wembanyama that are 7 feet, but they play like 6 foot. They're playing like point guards. They're able to dribble low. I just think it's a different style. But big guys will always give small ball players a difficulty because they're going to challenge shots and alter shots. So I think that's kind of what the Warriors are going through right now. They don't have a lot of size, so it's going to challenge them. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing right now with regards to the Warriors.
The Chet and the Victors, I mean, obviously the unicorns, but these guys are playing 30 minutes a game. I mean, like it's not. I guess what I'm getting at is that they're not tiring out these guys.
Well, they're also
they're
not
like
the same
19. Yeah, but
Yeah,
they're also
but-
like 19 years old. You know what I mean?
But they're
So-
not big men like Shaq. You know what
exactly.
Right, yeah.
Exactly.
they're-
That's what I'm saying. Is that like I get where you guys are coming from. Like we're transcending into maybe not necessarily a small ball, but a big man who can have cardio and last. You know, where the sentiment was that Warriors ran a small ball because every big man was trying to be Shaq or the next Dwight Howard. So you just run them out of the building. So I'm wondering if like the idea of a small ball lineup can't exist anymore, and you need to go find yourself a big man who can run 30 minutes a game. Like, is that the way we're going now with basketball?
I think finding a 7-footer who can be in the NBA is a unicorn, and then finding a 7-footer who can run up and down the court, shoot, play inside the paint, set screens, do all this stuff. That's a unicorn with a four-leaf clover in his shirt.
There you go.
Yeah, and I agree.
It's
I think
like super rare of what we're seeing with these guys.
I think that's super rare, but and I'm gonna give a weird analogy, but like Tony Hawk doing the 900, like that was so rare. Now you get like 13-year-old kids doing 900. Is that gonna be like the thing going forward? Like, yeah, this is
Every
unicorn.
7-footer needs to have handles.
Exactly. Like going forward, like is this just going to be like a trend that's just going to take over the league and take over like youth basketball? Like,
I mean, how many? First of all, there has to be 7-footers that can
exactly. That's where I'm going.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
You can't coach 7 feet. Like,
oh, you can't.
Like that's the other part. You can coach handles, but you can't coach 7 feet. Like,
Right.
Tall guys are tall guys. So,
but
it's
also too, there's
interesting.
7-footers like Shaq that Shaq's frame, no way in hell could be built. He would not be able to lose weight to be like Chet Holmgren or Victor.
Sure.
You know, he's
Wembanyama.
he's a big dude.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna call him BW.
But those guys are to an extent they're extinct because you're basically having a team that's going to run up and down a court. And I'm curious with Chet and Victor down the road. You know, they're 19, 20 years old, respectively. What are they going to be in like 7 years? You know, like, are they going to be able to keep doing this production of running down the court at 7 foot? You know, like that compression on your knees and ankles, like
It's tough to know for sure.
you know. So
I mean, we'll just have to wait and see. I think at this point, it's an interesting question, though. Yeah,
yeah,
and something to think about.
I wonder if that's will be the trend going forward. And
Yeah.
you know, and it's not to say that 7 foot unicorns just grow on trees, but I think that there's just this thought process that like in sports, we've always seen athletes adapt and grow with the sport. And I wonder if like 7-footers or kids who are really tall just become this like freakishly normal thing for them to be athletic like this because that's the norm going forward.
Just turn into real life monsters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So be fun.
I think one of the things is like a few years ago, we just, you know, to be in the NBA or any major league sport, you know, pro sport, you're already probably a freak of nature, whether it's athleticism or hand-eye coordination. I mean, you know, baseball, we've seen guys that look like us and they're able to hit 100-mile-an-hour fastball or throw 100-mile-an-hour. You know, that's
Kirby Puckett, man.
Right,
The dude was like 5'8", 220, and like,
but he, for whatever reason, had a superpower of being able to do that.
Mhm.
I mean, look at what's his name in Houston. You know, he's literally like 5'7", 5'6", and he's crushing home
Altuve?
runs. Yeah,
He's
You know
what,
what I mean?
4'11". You know, so I think with the NBA, the past 10, 12 years, I think what we're seeing is the athleticism has just gotten so much more athletic, if that's even possible, because we're not seeing, like I was saying, you're not seeing big men like Shaq.
Yeah.
Because they're not, you're just going to go up tempo and get them off the court. And now you're starting to see big men that can dribble and handle the ball. You got players like Draymond, who he's not necessarily the most athletic guy, but he's skilled and he's extremely intelligent, and he's able to position himself and guard, you know, players that in the past, someone of his frame shouldn't have been able to guard. He was guarding 1 through 5. And then to extend that, you had guys like Clay, who was also guarding, you know, 1 through 4 when he was at the peak of his powers defensively. So you're just seeing guys, I think, get more athletic, and I think the game is just evolving. But as far as the center of of the Shaqs. I think that's the dinosaur. I
Yeah.
think there'll be a center, a big man that does come back into style in that regard, but it's going to be, I think Giannis is like the closest thing.
No, I would
I
say Denver.
Jokic.
I think, but Jokic could shoot.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. But like
Way better.
he's
Yeah.
Pass.
he is slower than molasses, but somehow is the one of the most
as far as
skilled
the
big
thick,
men.
the thick body guy. Yeah.
And he can
Yeah.
can make room if he needs to make room.
Yeah, he can shoot way better than Shaq ever could, though.
Yeah.
Like,
Sure.
as a center, if you're going to be the slow plotting guy, you got to at least be able to knock it down. And going forward, I think.
Yeah.
I
think
you got to bring something besides 7 feet.
with going back to our old friend James Wiseman, I think he needs to study on like what these other big men that are light framed, I'll say, how they dribble and how they're able to run up and down the court is what he needs to probably study or get acclimated to, because he still looks lost. He still
I think at this point, I mean, it sucks because he chose his decision. He chose to not go through with the suspension and come back to Memphis for another year and develop. Like, he chose to do this whole, I'm just going to be in the NBA, forget going back to college. So, it's a detriment to his own self. But I think at this point, it's not out of the realm to label him as a bust.
Yeah, he might be out of the league, and
by
the end of the year next year.
I think at this point, the best case scenario is like he just kind of hangs around for a few more years, and then suddenly he's Andrew Bynum like later in his career, like, because Andrew Bynum was a huge bust, but all of a sudden he was, 8 years down the road, he was still around and suddenly was able to play relevant minutes for a while, for at least a couple of years there. So I think that's probably the best case scenario now going forward for James Wiseman.
I mean, he could be like what's his name? It was on Shaqtin' the Fool all the time. And he was a center for the Warriors. He was a center for the Warriors too.
JaVale McGee.
He could be JaVale McGee down the road. I think JaVale McGee is a great example too. I mean, like a guy who probably could have played his way out of the league with his boneheadedness, but is just able to stay around because he can survive long enough to adapt.
Yeah, we'll see.
So
to be
determined. Could go either way.
Yeah, we're gonna put that as an incomplete.
Yeah.
Because we're nice like that. All right. I think that pretty much wraps it up for basketball. Just the upcoming schedule. The Warriors have the in-season tournament game at Sacramento on Tuesday, and then Thursday and Saturday they have a home and home versus the Clippers. So here first on Thursday, then down in LA on Saturday.
Nice.
So there we go. And there's your basketball.
Are we jumping to across the pond?
Yeah, let's go. Let's get some footy.
Shall I take the lead?
Yeah, go for it, bud.
Wrexham had a game on Saturday. They got a interesting schedule going forward, but they get a huge win against Morecambe.
I had the same fucking problem. It's fourth level English tier soccer. We're not going to learn every single team's name perfectly.
Yeah, their logo is a shrimp, so it's not. I think it's some kind of crustacean, but I don't think it's a shrimp. But anyways, they get a 6-0. Paul Mullen gets a hat trick, which I can't remember the last time he got a hat trick outside of when he first joined Wrexham. So I think it's been a minute. So good for him.
Nice.
Next
6-0
Tuesday,
helps the goal differential too.
Sure does.
Big time.
Next Tuesday, which is tomorrow, they play against Harrogate Town, and then they play a Sunday against Yeovil Town, which is round 2 of the FA Cup, and then they round into next week, which we'll discuss because the next game is after that. It's Tuesday. But they are currently 10-6-3, second place. Last week they were in 4th place with 36 points. So don't panic, guys. You could win tomorrow and be back up in the standings. You could lose and be back down in 4th. So it changes every single day.
Top 3 get the automatic pass to the next level, and then 4 through 7 go into a playoff. So if you finish in the top 3, you don't have to sweat it at all. If you finish in the top 7, you're still alive no matter what. So there you go.
So We'll keep you updated with the Wrexham. We are
You're
getting
saying there's a chance.
we're getting close. I think we got like another like 2.5, 3 months, something like that. We're
No, it's a little more than that.
okay. So 3.5 months, 4.
Yeah, it's
that's
like
right.
early May actually. Like it's actually quite a while. So it's a long season.
Yeah, we got 4 months. 4 months.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're 19 games in. I think they end up playing like 42 games.
If you
like
don't,
yeah.
if you don't finish in first, just finish in second. You move right on up.
Hell,
without
even
question.
third, even
third. You
Mhm.
move right on up.
Yeah,
you're gonna be the Jeffersons.
that's right. Nice. I wasn't ready for that one. Okay. So let's switch it up to the pond.
Who is not the
Sharks-
Jeffersons?
Definitely not.
Moving on down.
They're doing a reverse Jeffersons. They're moving on down to the West Coast.
Their roster is about to be dynamite.
Yeah, dynamited. So for our win of the week segment, I've actually made an executive decision on how we're keeping points. If the game goes to overtime or the shootout, you get half a point.
Okay.
But if they end up losing in overtime or the shootout, it's half a point. If you get it right on the nose, you a win's a win. So
I did get this one right on the nose.
You did get this one right. The game that I had, the Sharks actually lost in a shootout, which is where I decided, you know what? That's not fair. They get a loser's point. I'm getting a loser's point.
I knew when Vince introduced this half a point in the past 10 seconds of hearing this, I go, I bet you this impacted Vince's score.
Hell yeah, it did. I had it till it was the shootout. Fuck that. I'm taking a half a point. But that's the executive ruling, and that's how it will work going forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did call it. I was asked to pick one, and I said, hey, they play this team twice. I'm going to go with the one at home. They got to get one of these.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Vancouver's a much better team, though. So that's why I kind of shied away from that. But credit to you. You got that one right. That was their win of the week on Saturday, I believe. No, Sunday against Vancouver, 4-3. They lose to Montreal in the shootout, which was my pick for the win. They also lose 7-1 at Seattle and 3-1 at Vancouver to start the week back on last Monday. So
it's just couldn't tie with me, man. He just wouldn't let that happen.
No, hell no. Hell no. Okay. So they have 4 wins, 15 losses, and 2 overtime losses, which is good enough for dead last in the Pacific, dead last in the Western Conference. Upcoming schedule tonight, they're playing at home against Washington. They go to Boston and play on Thursday.
Is that Sharks game going live now?
In about an hour.
I'm gonna take the Washington game.
Okay. All right. I'll allow it. Thursday at Boston, Friday at the New Jersey Devils, and Sunday at the New York Rangers.
The only one I see you taking, if it's not tonight, is Friday.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was leaning. Just to keep us live, I think here's the thing though. They haven't won on the road yet at all.
Exactly.
Every single
that's
win has
also
been at
why
home.
I picked Washington.
And that's why I'm afraid.
I mean, by all means, just take it with me too.
Yeah, you know what?
You can take it.
Yeah. You know what? We're both gonna just take Washington. Win of the week is tonight, Monday night against Washington.
It's not too late, Sam, for you to jump in. If you want to pick one, I mean, it's 2 points.
You can lock it. They're taking down Boston.
Oh.
All right. All right. I'll allow it.
That's a tall task, my friend.
That is a huge task.
Like out of all of them, I would say Boston
the least likely.
Like if you're gonna pick the least likely wins, I would take the Rangers over the Boston.
If it happens, great. I love that for you. To get on the board with that. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fucking great. Yeah.
It's not. Lord. I mean, you don't even have to put an asterisk. There's a good chance that me and Vince get this wrong, and you're already a point.
You're already closing the gap. Yeah. Remember, there's no penalty for a wrong guess. There's no penalty for a wrong guess because, like I said last week, there are going to be weeks where they don't win at all.
Yeah.
Because they're not a good team. So, we'll see what happens. It's going to be a lot of fun doing this. Try to have a little bit of levity in what is going to be kind of a rough season.
Yeah, you gotta find the rainbows where you can find them.
Yeah, people are starting to ask right now if Tomas Hertl is going to be trade bait.
Probably,
already.
Yes.
right?
And
100%.
well, see, the thing is, he has 6 years or something like that left on his contract.
I mean,
7,
they move.
5 years. Yeah,
I mean,
we'll see.
the contract's more friendly than the previous one.
Right. I mean, yeah. So,
I think they can move them.
Yeah. It's going to be.
The thing is I think if you're gonna move Hurdle, you gotta call at least 2 minimum of the young talents.
Yeah,
Because you got to see what you're working with if you just move Hurdle.
I mean, to be honest, it sounds like, down on the farm with the prospects, it sounds like a lot of these prospects, these top line guys, are actually playing pretty well so far. So that's promising to hear. They're not NHL ready yet.
Exactly.
But
what I'm saying is, though, if you're going to move
yeah.
Hurdle, who still has 6 years left, you need to bring up at least 2 of the young guys to see what you're working with, to see if it's even worth moving Hurdle, who's got 5-6 years left on this contract. Like it only makes sense to, like, I would rather if they.
Oh no, it's even more. He signed
7?
the contract. Let's see. So the contract. Sport Track. Come on, load the site. He's signed through the. It looks like he's signed through the 2031 season.
What is he averaging? $1 million a year?
Oh no, the 2030 season. Excuse me.
What's his AAV? $1 million?
It's 8. It's 8 and change. 8.137
per year.
Yeah,
that's a good contract.
Yeah,
for a hockey player, that's a good contract.
Cap is 8.1 million.
That's a pretty good contract for a hockey player.
So, yeah, I mean,
okay, but even more still, like, you need to bring, if you're going to move him now, they're not going to, okay, look, I'm going to take back what I said. They're not going to move him. If they bring up these young kids, and these young kids obviously not NHL ready, and they appear to not be NHL ready when they get here, then no hell way. They're not moving him. But if these kids by some damn miracle look like they're ready to go start up next season, and they can show promise like to the end of this season, oh yeah, they're gonna move Hurdle's contract for sure. 8.1 million, and you can go sign somebody else.
Right. See, here's the thing though. This what makes it tough is this season and next season he has a full no movement clause.
Only up to him.
Yeah, no. Period. Like full no movement. He can. He can he can waive it.
That's what I'm saying. Like Ike, he could waive it, right?
Right. Yeah, and then after the 2025 season, 2025-26, that's when it turns to an 8-team trade list. So he'll submit 8 teams he's willing to go to, and then
that's wild. Can you imagine if like other sports did that? Like you have to submit a go-to list, like baseball players would be like, oh, I'm interested in playing for these teams, whatnot. But like, you're not formally submitting a go-to list to your general manager.
Here's your 8-team trade list. Work with these teams. Yeah,
that's wild. I can't imagine
if you have somebody else. Yeah.
Can you imagine that? Like, can you imagine if Shohei Ohtani just went up to the Angels, say he's like, actively still on the roster and is getting paid, right? And just walked up and be like, Yankees, Boston, Giants, Seattle, work with these 4 teams. All yours.
Right. Anyway, okay. So I think that that brings us to the end of contract talk in the NHL.
We'll move to another contract talk.
We'll catch you next time when we discuss Logan Couture.
Yeah.
Just one note on baseball: Sonny Gray signed to the Cardinals, 3 years, $75 million.
You know what? I'm gonna give it to him on that one.
Good for you, bud.
Because
he finished top, like near the top at the Cy Young. Now he got his bag. Good for you.
Good for him, man. Because like he looked like he was all but maybe playing his way out of the league when he got to I think Minnesota the first time, and he has definitely turned his whole entire career around. So I'm happy for him, man. Good for him. Good for him.
Okay. I don't have anything else. Yeah, I think that's it.
We made it to the end.
Yeah.
And no one got hurt.
That's right.
All right, guys. Anything?
Feelings.
You guys wanted to add anything?
No, okay. Vince. I'll see you on Sunday, baby. You can count on me.
Right.
Counting on you in the parking lot.
Damn.
Damn. Can we hold pinkies when we walk into the pizza place?
Yeah. Pinky promise.
I pinky promise to not say anything not mean to you. Well, I
All right.
hope F bombs are flying out of the building left and right for each other, and we're high fiving when we do it too.
You're
Yeah,
gonna
totally.
get kicked
Yeah.
out
Can't kick
By
me
the-
out. I live there.
by the owner.
Oh yeah, he
That's
might.
very you can't fire me, I quit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, guys. Great show. Everybody out there that was listening, thank you so much for joining us today. You're listening to the SVT podcast. Subscribe to us on YouTube and hit the bell for alerts when we go live. Follow us on Instagram and Threads at SVT Sports Pod. Slide into our DMs. We would love to interact with you. Later, y'all.
See ya.
See ya.